There we go.
Okay, excellent.
All right, thank you, sir. The next, on the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the annual meeting on May 18th. I make a motion that we approve those without reading the meeting minutes. I believe everyone has reviewed the minutes. I did receive some edits that were made. So I make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve based on our review. Can I get a second?
I second.
Thank you. I have a second. The motion has passed. The annual meeting minutes for May 18th have been approved. Before we get into the items that are on the agenda, we had some board actions that we wanted to take. I did have some preliminary items that I wanted to bring up, late agenda items. I've learned the term now. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Late agenda item.
Yeah, late agenda items, just because we do have a new board member. And I think we need to get some preliminary things set up first and how we're going to operate. So with the election, there was a position description that was sent out for the secretary position. In that position description, it included the secretary would be taking minutes for all of the meetings. So that would include the board of directors meetings, as well as the quarterly community meetings. In addition, the secretary will be creating the meeting invites for all of the board of directors meetings, the agendas for all of the board of directors meetings with input from the other directors, and also creating the meeting invites for the quarterly community meetings, working with the communications chair, and creating the agendas for those. So I wanted to formally put that in the minutes. I know it was in the position description during the election, but we need to make sure that's officially adopted in the minutes.
I don't have a
So,
problem. I don't have a problem with that. I motion we do that, but I would also recommend that and we probably should do this with all of them, Lashana. With all the, well, let's just deal with this one, and then I'll talk about the other ones. But I think we need to do about the other ones. But for this one, I think we should codify this. We wrote it in the position description, but we should codify it in a board resolution. So my recommendation would be that we codify this in the board resolution, that we can just so it's really clear, and it lasts beyond us. So that would be my recommendation. But I'm going to vote for it now. But what I'm saying is, subsequent to this, the action would be, the motion is going to be that we agreeing that that's how we're going to proceed. But I'm taking the action. I'll take lead and get it over to the attorney and get it to codify. Then we'll finally formally approve the resolution later. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. We can look into that.
Yeah,
But
we'll deal with it
as
later.
of right now,
As of now, it's okay for right now. But the second step would be that we'll codify it in the resolution for later.
okay.
What's
So
the motion on the, what's the motion on the floor?
So the motion on the floor is that basically the position description that we codify for the election, we are going to put that in the minutes, in the meeting minutes. But step two, as an interim measure, but step two is we're going to actually take it and put it in a formal board resolution.
Okay.
Step two. Yeah.
I second that motion.
All right.
okay, we have a motion and a second. It is passed. So, Mr. Secretary, the position description is now in effect, and you will be responsible for those duties.
And man, you got a lot of work, man.
I do.
Mr. Secretary, I do have a question. This is Zoom. So is this the platform that we will be using for meetings, when you schedule meetings?
Correct. So moving forward, we will be using the Zoom platform.
Okay. All
And-
right.
And just to clarify that is for the board of directors, all board of director meetings that are held with the community or in executive session or with vendors or the association.
Agreed.
Okay. And what other thing, we did talk about this in our work session. But again, with a new board member, I wanted to make sure that it was included in the meeting minutes. So we had discussed implementing a rule that no director communicates with anyone without CCing the other directors by including the board email address and each director's preferred email address. So that would be my personal email address, Brian's personal email address, and Thomas's personal email address. So this includes the committees, even if the director is the liaison. So the other board members are kept in the loop and are aware of what's going on. This also includes any legwork, research, and anything else that goes on. So anything that the three board members would be doing, we would be CCing each other in the box to keep a record of everything and make sure that all of the board of directors are in the loop. So I make a motion to add that to the meeting minutes as we discussed it previously, that all directors will include the other directors in all email correspondence.
I will second that motion. I was just amended that once we complete our work in the work sessions, that we develop a communications matrix that it that essentially codifies that, LaShawna, just so it's really clear.
Okay,
But, okay.
I have a second, so that motion passes. Also, I wanted to, along those lines, this is something we also discussed about the social media platforms. We had discussed previously that we, as the board, were not going to engage homeowners on the group page that is not the HOA page. In light of recent events, I want to reiterate that and make that a formal motion in the meeting minutes because there's been a lot of confusion, information put out on an open page concerning the HOA business. And that's an open forum with people that are not homeowners. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of arguing, a lot of going back and forth. And I think it is imperative that the board refrains from interacting with homeowners on the unofficial or the group Facebook page. We have several avenues for homeowners to engage the board through our official social media platforms, through emails, through comms, through Century Management, et cetera. But the back and forth on this page is making the HOA look bad. There are potential homeowners that are looking at that page, and quite frankly, it makes us look unprofessional and messy. I've also been contacted by people that were considering joining a committee and saw the back and forth on the Facebook page and had second thoughts. So my motion is to formally adopt that none of the board of directors will engage homeowners on the unofficial Facebook page, but will encourage them to contact us through official means to obtain accurate information. Can I get a second?
I second that motion.
I third that motion. And
All right.
I'll just comment on that. I mean, I think that one of the things we've got to make sure that we're careful of is that we're not, taking positions on the board. But I think what we need to do is take this, LaShawna, take this and again, codify this, same here, is codify this into a formal policy because there's some gray, right? You might be talking to Brian about something on social media. So I think I'm agreeing to this now, but what I'm saying is we need to codify this in an official policy. I get the gist of where you're going with it. That's why I'm voting for it. But I think we need to codify it in the policy, so it's really clear in terms of.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
Alright.
formalizing it in
Yeah,
a
we need a policy.
policy,
Yeah,
but
we need
we need something, we
Agreed.
need
Yeah.
a rule and a procedure in place now. So putting it in writing, we can look at that at this
Yep.
time. So
Yep.
I had a second and a third, so that motion has to pass.
Y'all showing off tonight. What is this?
I've been trying to do things more, according to Robert's rules, so we can make sure that everything is done appropriately and also annotated appropriately in the minutes. So
Y'all coming here with these late agenda topics? What's this?
there's a lot of stuff going on.
There is. Madam President, may I have the floor, please?
Yes, sir.
I have yet another late agenda item I'd like to get on the record this evening.
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that enables, or actually, that enables the interaction with management and vendors. This is to ensure efficient management operations and avoids conflicting instructions from the board to management and or vendors. Also avoids potential liabilities. And my motion is this, that directors shall observe the following guidelines as a policy. The board president shall serve as liaison. The board's president shall serve as liaison between the board, management, and vendors. The board president will provide direction on day-to-day matters. Second, the directors may not give direction to management, employees, or vendors unless expressly authorized by the board. Third, no director may interfere with the conduct of the board during meetings or at any time management or a designated board member is carrying out the decisions of the board. And fourth, directors are prohibited from harassing, threatening, or intimidating management, employees, vendors, directors, committee members, and or owners, whether orally, in writing, physically, or otherwise.
I think
I second that.
go
I
ahead.
second the motion.
I had comments around it. I think the way that we work now with the lines of authority, the lines of responsibility, and it's clear to management who has responsibility for what.
So I'd like to open this.
I'm trying to figure out where we, and that's why I'm kind of looking at like where we.
Well, I made a second, but I will open this up for discussion. I have received a request from Century Management. It was the same request that was made when we signed the Century Management contract to only correspond with one person on the board. So that is why I second the motion. This is a request. There's been a lot of confusion between taking direction from different board members in the past, and I guess it has come to a head. And so I was asked how the board was going to proceed now that we have a new member on the board, if anything was going to change. So that is the reason for this, to cut down on confusion between Century Management, the management company, and with the vendors. So I do second that motion, and
I'm on board. I'm on board with it. I just need to see it in writing. I need to see it in writing because I might want to make some adjustments. So I'm on board with doing it.
Well, Brian, can you
can we put it in
provide
writing?
Thomas?
Can we put it in? Can we Paul? Hold on. Can we can we table this? Let's put it in writing. Let's us all
No.
look, what, Lashana, can I say my statement, please?
Yeah, you can say your
Thank you.
statement. We're not
Thank-
tabling it though.
If I can say my statement. I agree in some respects. I think we need to put it in writing. So that we can kind of, look at it and make sure that's what we really want to do. Make sure it says what we want it to say. I'm not saying I don't agree with it. I just said we need to put it in writing.
I second that.
Yeah, I think we need to put this in writing.
Nope. Where'd it go? Thomas,
Hold up, Thomas. Can you unmute yourself, Thomas, please? Thomas, can you
can I
unmute?
unmute him?
Yes, you should have, you have the ability to unmute him.
I don't see it. It just says ask to unmute.
There we
Okay,
go.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I think there are some places where, we need to, I want to see it in writing. And I'm not saying I'm not voting for it. I just want us to put it in writing. And
All right, so I'm going to withdraw my motion and I'm going to actually make a new motion. So my new motion is that we adopt this policy. It will be in writing. And again, the policy is, as I had stated before.
I want to say that I think we need to, I want to amend your motion if I can. I think what we need to do is to agree to put this in writing. Let us all look at it. Let us make sure that's what we want to do. I'm not saying that we don't need to do it. I just don't like coming in cold and not seeing what the implications of it are. For example, I do a lot of with accounting. So this basically what this says is, I can't in my world, living in my box, living in my world, if I see an error with the ledger, then I've got to go to somebody else to get it done, to get it fixed. And so I just want us to be careful about what we do. That's why I said I think we need to just pause on this, put it in writing, let us all align around it, and make sure that's the direction we need to go. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't do it. I just said we need to put it in writing and make sure we all agree on it. And I would appreciate it to see it before coming in here. So my suggestion.
Brian, can you make sure that you send Thomas the language that you read this evening? Again, I had already seconded the motion, so it has passed. We'll make sure that you get the
Then what I would
official writing.
then I want
Brian
to.
will make sure that you will send that to him so that you can see it in writing. But because of issues that we have had previously and at the request of the management company, I am seconding the motion.
Then I want to make another motion. Then that's fine. Then I want to make a motion. Brian will send that in writing, but I want to make a motion that this will be in effect until our next board meeting, and that we come back with a written policy that we can finally approve. So that this measure will be an interim measure until our next meeting, and we can put this in writing in a formal way. That's all I'm saying.
Is there a second to that motion? So if there's no second to that motion dies.
So then I'll make a,
Okay,
I'll make a,
so
I want to make another motion around this. That what I'm trying to get at it. Can you read that one more time, Brian? Because what it looks like to me is I think what I just got concerned about it. I mean, so are you saying is the intent that I don't know what this does. I don't know what the implications of this are.
I don't believe there's any negative implications. I believe this actually kind of streamlines the operation and make sure that there's no conflicting instructions or discussions otherwise directly to the management or to the vendors.
All right, so send it to me in writing, and then and if there's something that's not unclear, then I'll bring it back. But I'm gonna go along with this for now. But I think going forward, I'd like to make a motion that if we're gonna make policy changes, we make policy decisions, that we need to put this stuff in writing. It needs to be in writing, and everybody should see it before we vote on it. So my motion is going forward is that when we're going to make policy decisions, all the directors should see it. It should be in writing. It should be, it should be in writing to the extent that it can, that we all see it, in case we've got any concerns and we're not having these sorts of conversations on the floor.
And is that a motion?
Yeah, I mean, that's what my motion is, that going forward, that we start to codify this stuff in writing before we come out, and make sure we've all seen it. And if we need to make some sort of amendment, then we can do it on the floor, but at least have eyes.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor.
So yeah, I second my motion. Okay.
There is a second. There is a motion on the floor. Any second? No second. Motion dies.
All right. I tried.
All right, so for the record, that motion passed, that Brian made, that there will be one point of contact for the management company and vendors. So for the minutes, that motion has passed. Moving on to the next item. Let's see.
Madam President, may I have the floor one more time, please?
Yes, I was pulling up my agenda again.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
There's another motion I'd like to make at this time, and this is to, I make a motion to remove Thomas McKeithen II as the Chair of Management and Budget.
Is there a reason?
Well, I need a second and then we'll have a discussion.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's open
You
for
too on it.
okay, it's open for discussion. Did you want to restate your question?
What's the reason?
Well, the reason is that you are a board of director and you are also the chair of management and budget. And therefore you are your own liaison, and there is no checks and balances. And so moving forward in transparency, we need to have you working as the board of director, not saying that you cannot be the liaison for management and budget, but you're not going to be able to
No, I see where I see where you're going with it. I mean, I think it is, I think we did it and initially to kind of, um, for a variety of reasons. It was done for a variety of reasons.
Well, I'm not here to understand why. The motion's on the floor. You asked a question. So we're in the discussion part now. So are there any other discussions or questions to the motion?
No, I just wanted to add it. I've already seconded the motion. I just wanted to add, and remind Thomas that when we first took over the board, this was supposed to be temporary.
It was.
And we were going to appoint someone else. And this has also come up in the work sessions with the chairs. So this has been in the works for quite some time. This isn't something new. So I second the motion. The motion has passed. And we can move on. So with that motion passing.
Wait a minute, Lashana, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Excuse me?
Ma'am, that's not fair. I have a right to, I know what we said we were, I know what we said. I know what we said, but I wasn't, I don't think you're being fair to me. I don't have, wait a minute, ma'am. I have a, I mean, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it. I don't like the way y'all did this. You know, I'm just going to say what I said when we originally did it. I said that at some point that it would be appropriate, and the way you all kind of got together and came in here with these additional agenda items, everybody saw the agenda before the meeting. It's just that's not kosher.
Well, Thomas,
I'm
everything
just,
that we have brought up this evening
well, it was never
are
on the,
things,
but
excuse me, sir, excuse me, let me finish my statement. I did not interrupt you. Everything that we have brought up thus far has been discussed prior to this evening. It has been discussed in work sessions. It has been discussed with us on the board.
I never said it.
So
I never
this is
said
not a surprise. These
I ne-
things have been in the works for quite some time. And these are things that we need to take care of to ensure that the board is operating efficiently, effectively. And I have been fielding quite a few complaints. And so it is time to change how the board is operating
I'm not
so
going to
that
disagree.
we can work and get things done.
I'm
So
not
that
going-
is what's happening.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not disagreeing with it. It's time to make a change. It's how you,
Okay.
no, ma'am, it's how you made the change. Y'all sent out, everybody sent out an agenda today. We sent an agenda today. Everybody looked at it, everybody saw it. And now we come in here with these additional agenda items. I don't,
Thomas, this is
no,
according to Robert's
ma'am, but
rule
ma'am,
and
but hold,
procedures.
ma'am,
There's nothing that is being done
but ma'am,
tonight
but
that
Lashana,
is not being done by the book.
but Lashana, that's not my,
Thomas, I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not, ma'am, I'm not arguing. I'm just making a statement. We all looked at the agenda earlier today.
You've already said that, and I've heard you.
Okay.
So I'm not
Moving
going
on.
to continue to argue with you.
Ma'am,
Let's move on.
we're not arguing. I'm just saying that what you all did was not fair. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
I understand that's how you
play them type of
feel.
game.
I understand that's how you feel. However, if you read Robert's rules of law, it is done
I'm over it,
according to
Lashana.
that.
I'm over it.
So
Keep going.
you can feel that way, but everything is being done in decency and in order.
I'm over it.
So
Keep
with that
going.
motion passing, we need a chair for the management and
Well,
budget.
hold on. I'm sorry, Madam President, but we would need another motion to dissolve management and budget, because according to meeting minutes 15th of December 2021, the management budget committee, which was part of the actual advisory board committee or group, was stood up as a actual management and budget committee.
All the committees were stood up that way, though, Brian.
I understand that. So I make a motion to dissolve management and budget committee and create 2 new committees, one called Management Committee and the second one called Finance Committee.
And what will be the what's the difference?
So I'll answer that question after I second the motion. Again, this is something that we have talked about. We stood up the Management and Budget Committee. It was supposed to be twofold. The management side of it, looking at, and homeowners have been requesting this as well. It was supposed to look at the governing documents, to look at what was legal, what's not legal, what we can do, what we cannot do, a total review of the governing documents to see if we wanted to edit them, revise them, add something to them. The management piece of the Management and Budget Committee has been neglected. And I have brought up previously that I thought that it should be split.
I agree it should be
So,
split. It's too much. So I would, Brian, yeah, I'll go along with you. I think it should be split and it should be called management and policy, not management policy and rules. And it would deal with all of the board's policies, the board's resolutions, the board's policies, and the associated rules. So you take the so it would handle policy, rules, regulations, and contracts. That way you're splitting the function.
so
Okay,
can,
so that's part of the discussion. All right, so I'm sorry, go ahead, Madam President.
I was just asking for clarification, but go ahead. I think that's where you were going. So Thomas, the motion, or what, can you explain what your motion is?
So my motion, I'm amending Brian's. So we're saying we're going to take the management function of management and budget. And we're going to take the management piece, which dealt with management and rules and contracts, and we're going to put that in one bucket. And the financial piece, which would deal with the budget, the budgetary items, or the financial piece, would be in the finance committee. Is that what you're saying, Brian? I thought that's what I heard you say.
Correct. So, right. So one, I'm sorry, Thomas. So yes, so the management piece is going to take care of, or it's going to look at the bylaws, the CCRs,
Yeah.
The policies.
Yeah.
In one.
Go on. Yo, go put that in Mom's office.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you mute your mic, please?
I got it.
Okay. And then on the other side, on the finance side, it's going to take care of the budget. It's going to take care of everything that deals with finance.
I would agree. I agree with that.
Okay, so we're going with the original motion that Brian made and I second. Am I understanding correctly?
Yeah, and so just to clarify, management is going to handle all the policy related issues, policy and rules related issues. That includes government documents, and the finance will handle it. Basically, what we're doing is taking one large committee and we're actually splitting it.
Correct.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right, so the motion is dissolving the Management and Budget Committee as it currently is. Create 2 new committees, Management Committee and the Finance Committee.
I second again.
I third it. And I would say this, since we're here, and I know we have a draft committee thing, I think, but a draft committee resolution that we're working to establish all of these, to keep the lines really clear. Brian, I want to amend your motion that says this.
Well, hold on, Thomas.
Oh, where am I at?
Well, Unfortunately, so it's already been second.
Well, I'm gonna make another one. No. I'll make another one. I'll
Okay.
make another one. Then I'm sorry. We did second. I thirded that one. So I want to make
Yeah.
another. I'm sorry.
I'm confused because we second and
I'm
third.
sorry. We're
I mean,
second and
it
third.
really
We
passed.
want to we no. So I'm gonna make another one. Because I think we're fixing something that we probably should have fixed initially, and that is to build a line between the board itself, a firewall between the board itself and the committees, and that would be that a board of director, a director, or officer of the board, cannot or shall not serve as a committee chair. I think that will fix it for across the board, so that the board, the three officers of the association, will have that ability to look strategically, and allow the committees to do their work. Does that make sense? And then to your point, Brian, it puts in place a set of checks and balances.
Okay, one more time, please.
Basically, all I'm saying is what we did for management and budget, me acting as chair and treasurer. What I'm suggesting is that none of the three officers should serve in the role of a committee chair.
Okay, I'd like to amend that motion because
Okay. Go ahead.
As we go down this journey, there's going to be more than 3 board members. So I would actually amend it to say any board member.
That's what I was getting at. Yep.
Okay, I second both of your collaborated amendments. I second that. So my understanding is that no director on the board, no board of director will serve as a chair in conjunction with being a director on the board.
Agreed.
Correct.
And
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll we've got that draft resolution we're working. We'll fix it in the draft version before we bring it back.
Okay, the motion has passed.
And let me just make a note, Brian, that we're gonna the resolution that we're working, that the actions that we've taken today, we codify that in the draft resolution that we're working. So these are interim measures that we're taking, but the final resolution will codify what we've agreed to.
Noted.
Thanks. We need to vote on that. So let me just make a motion that these actions that we're taking today are interim measures, knowing that the board is in the process of formally drafting a committee, a standing committee, a standing committee resolution to provide more guidance, and the interim actions that we take today will be codified in that resolution once it's brought back.
So you're right. Now, when you're saying these actions that the board is taking today, you need to be more specific?
So we split. So when the resolution, I'll give you a clear example. When the resolution,
no. I want to make sure that I'm capturing this correctly.
Mm-hmm.
When you're saying that the action that the board is taking today, you're referencing the motion of splitting or dissolving the management and budget committee, creating 2 new committees.
Right. So the committees will. So right now it's written as a budget and a management and budget committee, but we'll split the function, and then we will put language in the resolution that stipulates that no director shall serve as a committee chair.
Okay, that's clearer.
I'm sorry, did I not state?
Well, you did, but then you used the language, what we're doing tonight. And
that confused you.
We're doing many things tonight. So
I got you.
I want to make sure that it's clear and we have a clear record.
Noted.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so with that motion passing, we have with the 2 committees now, we need a chair for the finance committee and also a chair for the management committee.
Can we, I have an idea of how I would like to proceed with these. Can we come back? Can we do the other ones and then come back?
Do
Oh, you
the
want,
other ones.
you want to do the landscaping? Okay. so
Yeah,
you-
let's do landscaping and then come back.
Okay, that's fine.
Landscape and architecture, then come back.
Yeah, okay. Madam President, do you want to do was that 7A? Or actually, I can do 7A.
Yes, the landscaping chair appointment.
Okay. I make a motion that that the Board of Directors appoint Theron Gore as the landscaping chair. Theron Gore is duly qualified. He has been part of the landscaping committee going on 2 years now. He has successfully led online meetings. He has also successfully been engaged in all aspects of the landscaping committee, whether it is walking the grounds with potential vendors, working with past vendors and current vendors. He has also exhibited a incredibly high knowledge of pretty much all things landscaping and all things in our community that comprises the land under the landscape umbrella. So with that, I make a motion that the board appoints Theron Gore as the chair of landscaping.
A second.
We have a motion and a second, it passes. So Theron Gore is now the chair of the landscaping committee now that Brian is on the board. The next item, Thomas, I will pass to you is the ARC chair appointment.
Yep. So as you know, most folks know, Demetrius Wilson resigned as ARC chair, architectural review chair. And he's had a team of folks working with him around the architectural issues. And so Miss Martha Henderson was one of those folks who raised her hand and said, I want to be engaged. Miss Henderson advises that she's had experience in working on architectural issues in her former community and volunteer to serve. So and has served on the architectural review team. And so I recommend that Ms. Henderson be appointed architecture chair.
I'd like to open this up for discussion. I have some questions. How long has Ms. Henderson been on the art committee?
Actually, I don't know. I wasn't that, that was Miss Dr. Wilson's area of responsibility. So I don't know. I just saw the note that she was interested in serving. I think she may have signed up in April, March timeframe.
Of this year, of
Yeah, of
2022?
2020. What is this? Yeah, 2022,
22.
something like that.
Has Miss Martha Henderson been has she supported the ARC request coming in and was able to handle that and actually either approve or deny based upon the criteria that the board has established? Do you know if she did any of that?
To the best of my knowledge, I was advised that she was heavily engaged in working with the team, working with Demetrius and fulfilling those fulfilling those requests.
I do have a concern about because the main function of being the chair for this committee is handling the online system for the architectural applications. I do recall, I think that I'm not sure, I'd like to open this up to the community. Because the main function of this is to handle an online system. And so it's heavily IT driven. I do recall something that is leading me to believe that that might not be the best fit for her to volunteer as the chair of that committee in that role, with the responsibility being heavily IT driven. So I would like to make a motion to open this up to the community to see what interest we get and select the best experienced person for this role for the chair.
Hold on, Madam President. So right now there's a motion on the floor, and it was open for discussion. So the next order of business is if there's no other discussion, then we need to vote on the current.
I'm
motion.
sorry. So Thomas's original motion.
Correct.
So
Unless Thomas wants to withdraw or rescind his motion.
it doesn't look like it's gonna pass. So, doesn't look like it's gonna pass. And I'm not gonna get embarrassed. The lady raised her hand and said she wanted to volunteer. I don't have a problem with it. She worked hand in glove with Demetrius. I don't particularly have a problem with it. I was not actually, involved in the day-to-day functions of that committee. But if it's the will of the body to open it up to the community, then I will defer, because I'm not going to get embarrassed up here. So I'll amend my motion and say, what we do is we put this one, since this does not look like it's going to pass, that we take this and we put this out to see, if there are any takers. We put it in the Brentwood Weekly, that, we're looking for our ARC chair, and let people, give people 2 weeks to express their interest. And so the window of opportunity will close whatever 2 weeks from now is. 10th? Is that right, Brian? The 10th? It will close on the 10th.
Stand by.
Yeah.
Stand by. Stand by, please. Let me. So was that the 10th? Let's just give me a second here.
So if we issue it on, Nicole usually sends the thing out on the weekend, on Saturday. So let's just do 2 weeks from, two weeks from Sunday, which would be the 11th. Right?
Correct.
So we're just gonna count from Sunday to the 11th.
So we have actually another board. Could we actually do it closer to a board meeting? Unless
When's the next board meeting?
well, the next board meeting is scheduled for June the 8th.
I don't think we're doing that one because we got the committee work session.
That is
No, that's at 6.
okay,
So
right.
the work session is from 6 to 7, and then we were scheduled to meet from 7 to 8:30.
Y'all really gonna get through?
Well, we've been holding the work sessions to 1 hour because that's what everybody voted on.
Right.
But what do
so
what do y'all want to do?
Well, we can always set it for the 11th, and then if we need to extend it, there's no reason why we not going to extend it, or we shouldn't extend it. I also want to piggyback off that motion to make sure that the board continues working the ARC requests as they come in, and open and have an open meeting that homeowners can attend. Basically, the board would be running the ARC committee meetings in order to fulfill the ARC request.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. I'm confused. What are we doing? Are we doing? Wait. Let's do this first. Hold on, Brian. Hold on 1 sec. Let's get this chair. Figure out how we're going to deal with this chair appointment first.
Okay.
All right. Let's do the chair appointment.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this back. We've got Miss. We'll keep Miss Henderson in the queue. But what we'll also do is my motion will be keep Miss Henderson in the queue. She's already raised her hand and said, okay. What you all want to do is cast a wide net. All right. So what we'll do is we'll put it in the Brentwood Weekly for this week that we're looking for ARC chair. And we will ask people to submit to the board by the 11th of their interest. And we'll deal with it at the next board meeting, which will be end of June.
June 22nd.
Yep.
I second that motion.
All right.
Okay, I will work with comms to get that language. I will present a draft to you guys, and then I'll work with her to get that language out.
Okay. And then with respect to the ARC business,
So
I'm-
there's a
Go ahead.
problem with that. I did try to log into the account.
I know.
And I
I
was
know.
not able to get, okay.
It's a
So we-
Colin, it's a conversation that I've got to talk to Colin about fixing that flow.
Oh, no. I'm talking about
What?
the Gmail, the email account, the ARC
Oh,
email.
I want. Oh, okay.
We can't log into it with the information that we were given. I did reach out and didn't get a response back. So we do not have access to that mailbox. So that's something that we're gonna have to address.
Okay. The with respect to the ARC things, Brian, you saying hold a meeting to deal with the ARC issues.
Well, yes. So of course, ARC requests are going to continue to come in, and I know the ARC committee has been working on some action items. So we just, as a board, we're not able to just let that kind of stand still. So we need to, as a board, we need to work together to move that along.
Yeah, there's an issue. Well, I don't want to sort it here, but there's an issue with the workflow that I'm working with IT with Century to fix. So can we take this piece of the conversation offline and figure out how we kind of work it?
I'm going to defer to the president,
because it's a workflow issue. And to LaShawna's point, if there's an email issue, then we've got to deal with all that workflow scenario
Okay.
around the ARC.
So if I'm following you both correctly, I am hearing that we want to make sure that we are still, while we're searching for a new ARC chair, that we are still processing and handling the ARC applications that are coming in. We are having some technical difficulties with Century and also with gaining access to the mailbox, so that we are going to have a more in-depth conversation about how we are going to handle that. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's have a more in-depth conversation. We can't sort it right here.
Can we put a time? Can we put a time frame around that? Because again, this is a very important issue.
Well, it is. We get notifications around when we get, when we get an ARC applications, right? So the board knows when we're getting those architectural applications based on the workflow.
Right.
Let's-
So,
let's-
but as a body, can we put a time frame where we're going to actually reconvene at a later date, and can we put that on the calendar?
A week.
Can we meet tomorrow?
We'll meet tomorrow. I'll meet with y'all tomorrow. I'll find some time tomorrow. We'll connect.
Okay, so do you want to put a time on it, Brian, for tomorrow? Do you just want to schedule the meeting now?
Anytime after 11 is good with me.
Jesus. Hold on. Let me see. Six.
I have to do before 3:30. So
I can do. You said tomorrow, Brian?
Sure, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's fine. Tomorrow, anytime between 11 and say 2:30, 3 o'clock.
I can do 11:30, somewhere between 11:30 and 12:30. Or
Does 11:30 work for you, Madam President?
11:30 is fine.
11:30. I can do 11:30.
Okay, so 11:30 tomorrow. We will meet specifically on making sure that the ARC applications are being addressed, and also to gain access to the Gmail account.
Yep.
And that is going to be May the 26th. Okay.
Okay. I believe we were going to circle back to the Finance Committee.
My recommendation, we do the same thing that we're gonna do with Arch. I mean, Art, well, since we're going down that road, I will put all three of them out. I have an idea about one of them. But I say we put both of them out. And have the same open process.
Are you making a motion?
Yeah, I'm making a motion that we put the management chair out, management policy, whatever we call it. I think we call it management policy, and then we put the finance chair out. We put them both out at the same time.
So Brian, keep me straight. Can I amend his motion, or do we have to vote on it first?
No, you can amend. I'll let you amend my motion. Let me see what it is if I want to accept it.
You can amend
See if I'm going to accept your motion.
it.
So since we've already dissolved management and budget and have split it up into two committees, I would like to amend your motion so that we have an interim finance chair.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with opening it up to the homeowners to see what talent pool we have out there. I see Brian with his hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, Brian.
Okay.
Did I do that wrong?
No.
No, she's amending my motion. She's amending my motion.
Right. So you amended the motion.
Well, I didn't feel what she said. I didn't hear what she said.
She wants to amend it to where we appoint a interim chair for finance. And the reason why is because we're in the middle of a budget process and we need to continue to flow. So that is the amended motion.
We are in the middle of a budget process, and
Right.
we've got
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
wait a minute. Hold on, Brian. Hold on, man. Come on. Wait a minute. No, come on. That's not fair. I'll listen to you. We are in the middle of a budget process, and I think we've got a listening session later, and so I mean, version 2 doesn't come out until August, but I'm open to seeing what LaShawn's got to say.
I was just saying we need to have an interim, an interim finance person while we, because like Brian said, we are in the middle of a budget finance thing, and we're setting the date. I'm assuming the date would be the same, like on the 11th so that's 2 weeks for
I think
people
it's
to
2.
respond.
I think it's 2 weeks. I don't think 2
Yeah.
weeks. I don't think 2 weeks is going to kill us.
Nope.
I think we put both of them out, all 3 of them out. Let people bite, and then if they don't bite, then we tap our resources and look and see who we got. I think the board can proceed. I don't think there's not having. I mean, yeah.
So your motion is for the board to also take on
My
the
motion,
finance committee?
my motion right now. My motion right now is that we're gonna put the budget. We're gonna put the management chair, finance chair, the architectural chair out for community engagement. We've issued the first draft of the budget, proposed FY22 budget. The board's got a listening session on whenever this is, the 16th. I don't think we won't even get to draft 2 by then. So I think we got some time, Lashana, to be honest with you.
So we wouldn't have, because I'm looking at the motions that we've already passed. So we've dissolved management and budget.
You're not gonna have a management chair. You're not
you-
gonna have a management chair. You're not gonna have a finance chair. Nor would you have an architectural chair. There's nothing that's
However, so with finance, so are you saying that
I will
there's
handle.
nothing financial? There's nothing financial that's going to happen until
No.
we appoint, you're not saying that. So then we would need an interim chair.
No, what I'm saying, what do you mean nothing financial? What are you saying?
My question was,
I'm sorry, I'm trying to
Are you-
understand what you.
my question was, you're saying that we don't need a finance chair in the interim. So that
No.
means that nothing financial is going to occur between now, because right now we don't have a finance chair.
We don't need to
Nothing
do.
financial would occur between now and the time that we actually select a finance chair.
Nothing
I don't
out-
really think that's
Nothing out of the treasurer's in place. No, there's nothing out of the norm that's not going to occur. Where we're looking at the balance sheet, which is what I look at every day. The normal course of business where the management fees and the fees are paid via accounting. We're not doing any contracts. There are no the contracts only whatever the contracts that are at their attorney or the one that's at the attorney and the other one, we're not even ready for it. So we're not taking any financial actions. All the maintenance reserve work has been done for the most part. We're just waiting on to figure out what we're going to do about the what was the thing we talked about yesterday about what we're going to do about the fence and what we're going to do about irrigation. We don't know.
So I'll weigh in on this. I feel that given light of the financial obligations that the community has before it daily, we meaning the community, we need a interim chairperson to oversee the finance committee.
They're not gonna.
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Thomas. Thank you.
I'm sorry, man.
And so given my concern and given concern that homeowners have expressed to me, I believe that it is in the best interest of the board to appoint a interim chair for the finance committee.
For what period of time?
Well,
Are you-
interim.
until we-
So you had mentioned earlier that we're gonna put the 3 committees out to the community, to the homeowners, and we're going to see what's happening as far as June the 11th, and then we're going to then make an appointment shortly thereafter.
In June, the 22nd, right?
We can do it when we reconvene on the 22nd, or we
Yeah.
can call a special meeting.
We can.
Okay.
All right. So I'll tell you what. I'll. We'll figure out who it's gonna be. Let's put them all three out, and I will agree to appoint an interim finance chair. But what I will say is, you know, we watch the balance sheet every day. I mean, not a day that look about it. I'm not looking at the balance sheet and the expenses. Matter of fact, we're at the end of May, so there's really nothing else that's going to occur between now and June 16th.
Okay, so what is your motion?
My motion is that one, we put the 3 chairs out for management, finance, and ARC, and that we appoint to that we appoint a finance chair to work with the treasurer until we appoint a permanent financial chair.
Okay, so I second that. And I guess we need to decide who the interim is going to be.
I make a motion that we appoint Michael Spencer as the interim chair for finance.
I don't have a problem with that. Mike,
So is that a second?
let me finish, Lashana. I don't have a problem with that. Mike works with me we work well together. So Mike and I worked together when I was, management and budget chair, and we found a way to work together. So I will definitely work with Mike over the next month or so.
So is that a second for the record?
That's a second.
Okay. So the motion has passed. We're trying to do things in order now, so we gotta have the motions and the seconds and all that for the record, for the meeting minutes. Phew, okay. So I will work with the comms director to get wording out, send you guys drafts, and we will get those out to the community on the management chair, finance chair, and ARC chair. So that motion has passed. Moving on to the next agenda item. Before we move on to that, I wanted to address the committee, the board liaison assignments, because we have a new board of director. I have been threatened that I need to keep my committees.
You've been threatened to beat you up? They fight with you, man, Lashana?
So although I am bringing this up, I am going to caveat by saying that I think it would be in my best interest to keep communications and community events. So that leaves the two of you with the remaining committees. So we have to do some shifting because we have a new board member.
I will. I've got an idea.
Thomas,
huh?
you better be nice to me now.
I'll be nice to you, sir. I have a good idea, Reverend. You good. I have a great idea. I think that I do IT, so I think that architecture and finance and management should be under me, and that Reverend Brian there would take landscaping and security. And here's why I think landscape and it plays to Brian's strength. Brian and I disagree on a lot of things, but we find common ground, right? But Brian is a on the grounds, in the weeds type of guy. And when you're dealing with landscaping, when you're dealing with security, you're dealing with those sorts of issues, you've got to be eyes on the ground. That ain't me. I'm a project person. I'm a strategic person. So that's what I would say.
Can I amend Brian?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this right.
Yes. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so Thomas, I agree mostly with that. I would amend to put the management piece under me. Because I want to make sure that it gets its due attention. And make sure that we get on the ball with all those things I mentioned before, reviewing the governing documents, seeing what we want to revise, seeing what we want to take to the attorney. And it seems like finance has consumed a lot of your time, to be perfectly honest. So I agree with that. Of course, Brian would have to speak on his assignments, but my amendment would be to put management
As long as you
under
give
me.
it, as long as you give me IT.
What do you mean
As
IT?
long as I can work with Century on IT. That's the only way I'm going to agree with it, because they're infrastructure issues that around ADA, workflow, and technical jargon that I've got to be able to lean in on that. And we've got that relationship with the VP up there, and so that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I wouldn't be doing anything independent of the board. Just because I'm the board liaison for management doesn't mean that I would be operating independently. We already said that none of us are going to operate
Well,
independently.
yeah, we're gonna do that though. All right,
So
I'm gonna.
you will definitely be in the conversation. I would be the board liaison for management. So none of us is doing anything independently. You will be able to weigh in on ADA concerns, and all of that will be taken into consideration. I would just be the board liaison for management. So that would be my one amendment. Brian,
What you think, Brian?
Yes, I like that. I like that idea, Madam President. Just for the record, I will oversee the landscaping and safety and security. Not because I'm in the weeds type of guy. It's because I lead from the front and I make sure that no soldier is left behind. And so with that, I'm good. Can we vote?
okay, so we are voting on Lashana keeping communications, community events, adding management. Thomas is keeping finance and adding architectural review. And Brian has landscaping and safety and security.
I will agree with that. And Thomas is gonna deal with IT and ADA issues. I want that in there.
Well, again, I'm the liaison. And
I got it, Sean. I got it, Lashana.
We will all work
We'll go
together.
fix
No,
it.
because
No,
we'll
no,
work
I'm picking with
together
you. I'm picking with you.
to work on
I'm
things.
picking with you.
So, okay. So can we vote on this? Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay.
I'll third you.
Okay.
You owe me.
It is passed and approved. So we have the board liaison assignments. So I guess I'm not sure if all the chairs are on or not, but I guess we should send out an email to let them know.
Correct.
Okay. Next item on the agenda.
It's going to be 7C.
I think I'm looking at the wrong document then, because I don't see a C. Is that the budget listening session?
No, it's a residential leasing resolution reapproval.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, so the residential, and the date is on here, actually, it's actually wrong. It was March 30th. So just change the date. The date, so in short, and if y'all want, we can move these in block. I'll explain both. So we'll still do the residential leasing one. The board approved a residential leasing concept approval on the 30th of March. And all it does is, so under the current covenant, the association, the management can request the lease of the, it's at the request of. And so all we're doing is saying that if you lease your property here, so that management is aware of, and the board is aware of, who the tenant is, et cetera, and that the owner is, responsible for the, the violations or what have you. It just puts all this does is puts in the process in terms of when that owner has to submit a copy of the lease to management. Right now, there are about 25 or 30, I think it's 30, trying to keep me honest, homes that we think are renters, and we don't know. So all this does is establishes a process that you submit your lease, and the name of the tenant, which management would capture. That's that one.
But okay, can we pause there? And
Yeah, I'll stop there.
Let's actually take care of this business here. So this is, you said this is a reapproval?
So the board approved it, but we submitted it. The board approved this on 30 March. But the attorney advised, and we submitted the document the way we've kind of written it to the attorney, and she put it in legal form. What she asked us to do is just to kind of go back and reaffirm, now that it's in the proper legal form. There were no technical changes or otherwise to this.
You want me to bring it up?
Yeah, you want to show? Oh, yes, please.
Okay, if I can figure out how to do this, hold on.
It's going to be under share.
Okay. Oh, I like this. This is better than Teams. I can see which one I'm going for. Okay.
So all this does is, Shauna, you're gonna have to help me here because I'm going from total memory. So right now, okay, right now the association can request a copy of, if you lease your property, the association has the authority to request a copy of the lease. All this does is put in place a process. It just says that within, trying to keep me honest, I think it's 15 days is that after you execute the lease, that you provide a copy to management, whoever management is, or to the association, and that if you do any subsequent amendments, that you provide it, and that you advise the tenant, of the rules of the association, and that you as the homeowner are still responsible for the maintenance and otherwise of your property. That's all it does.
Yes, it's 15 days.
Is it 15 days? Okay.
So I have a question.
It does. I'm sorry. One thing it does not do, it does not cap the number of rentals within the community. That type of a change will require a covenant change.
Right. Okay. So it doesn't cap the number of rentals.
No.
Help me understand why it's in the best interest of the board to require a private homeowner to submit their lease, when, if you're looking to capture information, whether or not person A is renting their property, you could create a policy that requires person A to provide their current address, the name of the tenants or the leasees, to Century Management?
Because that's the way that's the way it's written now. And the only thing we did, Brian, so right now the covenant I think it references the covenant of the bylaws.
Yeah, yes, I read the covenant, and it's where it says if the association asks for the lease, what you're saying is you're going to require the lease. So my question from a business perspective, why would I be required to provide a lease when I can provide my tenant's information, my current information? What is the lease? What does the lease provide?
It signifies that it's a legal instrument that says that you're running your property. That's all it does. And then it would the lease would have, I think the lease has to have the it can't violate any of the covenants of the association. Look, Brian, the attorney read it. I'm trying to understand what the premise of your question is.
Well, the premise of my question is that I believe that requiring a private resident to wait, let me finish. You asked me a question. Requiring a private resident to require them to provide a lease that has confidential information about their property and about how much they're renting their property for. I don't believe it's the association's business. And I have rented, I have leased.
So have I.
Many homes, and I still do that for a living, in multiple counties. And I have not had one HOA or management company require a homeowner, including myself, to provide a lease.
So are you suggesting, look at this first provision. Are you suggesting that we amend this to?
What I'm suggesting is
what are you suggesting that we do to this? I'm trying. I understand what you're. I understand. I'm trying to get at.
Well, I would like to table this and have a little bit more, just more discussion around it, so I can actually understand your objectives or the objectives of the past board as to why it's necessary to require a private citizen to provide their lease.
Can we put this on our agenda for tomorrow when we chat? I'll pull this one. Let's talk about it tomorrow. There's some things that we want to share around this. So when we meet at 11:30, let's deal with this in the executive session and come back.
Well, I mean, we can't really do it in executive session because there's no private information being shared. I mean, executive session is only used for specific.
So why don't you do this? What are you objecting to the whole thing, or are you objecting to parts of it?
Well, I'm not ready to provide a vote because I think you're wanting us to vote on this tonight. So I'm not ready to provide a vote because I'm maybe 7 days in or 5 days in.
Shauna, what do you want to do? We had already approved this. What do you want to do?
We did already approve this, but he's gonna have to sign it because he's on the board now.
All right, let's move to June 22nd.
Okay.
I move this to June 22nd.
Okay, that's the next board meeting.
Yeah, the one at the end of June.
Oh, what? We're not doing the 8th? Can we do it on the 8th?
Well, if we've got to mod it, then it's gonna have to go back to the attorney. That's why I said it.
Oh, okay, I got
And
you.
and
Yeah.
MSN takes a minute to
Yeah, you're
turn
right.
it around.
Okay, you're right. Okay,
All right, so we'll revisit this. All right, so the March 2nd one was the maintenance and architecture one. And all that does is just kind of lays out and provides more guidance around maintenance and architectural requirements.
I don't have that one.
Right, that's the maintenance standard and
Yes.
architectural guidelines.
Yes. Are you uncomfortable with this one too?
And this was passed.
Well, all of these were passed. The only thing that all the board already approved these. The board already approved these. But it wasn't in proper it wasn't in the resolution form. So the attorney just wanted us to come back. And if you look at the March 2nd and the March 30th meeting minutes. These
Okay, so
things
I'm
are,
gonna play devil's advocate here for a minute. So in front of me, I have the guidelines. However, there was and I know I'm getting off topic a little bit because this is actually further down in the agenda in the agenda. But there was a inspection done. So the inspection was done based upon the current CCRs, right? That kind of laid out what was, what was deemed appropriate by the DRC, Design Review Committee. But then we come back with this.
that provides that there's nothing in that contradicts what's in the other things. Those are more
Well, it does contradict because what's in here is not in the CCR. What's in the CCR is not in here. So there is a contradiction. There is a contradiction.
What?
So color of fencing. All owners are
All right,
required.
I tell you what. So we don't waste time, Brian. So we don't.
No. We're not wasting time. We're having a discussion. We're having a discussion about what the board has approved. I'm coming behind and I'm trying to piece this together because what's in the CCR is totally something different from what is in this document here. But you're telling me it's the same thing.
Okay, so let me try. I think I understand. I understand where the confusion is. Let me try to bridge the gap.
You want to try to bridge the gap? Okay, thanks.
I'm gonna try. Okay, so we have our declarations and covenants and that long name of requirements for the homeowners association.
Correct.
There was a review done by the ARC committee, and there were items that were suggested that be added to supplement what is in the governing documents. And so this resolution, the maintenance standards resolution, was drafted. It was presented in an open meeting. I don't remember the date, but it was presented March 2nd. It was presented in an open meeting to the homeowners, and then we sent it to the attorney for review, which we have since learned is that before we present anything to the community, it should go to the attorney first and have already been reviewed and be in its final form. So this kind of got mixed up because we didn't know. And so since we did it that way, the attorney said, okay, but now you've put it in a formal form, you need to present it again to the community. So we're kind of yeah, we're backtracking.
Okay.
So the things in the maintenance standards supplement the governing documents. So I guess in that sense, no, they're not in the governing documents because it's adding clarification or it's adding to the governing documents. And it's in addition to what's in
Yeah.
the governing documents. And we did present it, but the attorney advised that we need to present it again after she has formally put it in legal language in its resolution. So that's why we were bringing it before the homeowners tonight.
And
Okay.
that's the same thing with the residential lease. The same thing with the residential lease. And I thought I said that, but same thing. It establishes a process for making sure we capture what we need to capture around residential leasing. That's all it does.
But
That's for
we
both of these.
presented it.
All for these was the ARC, and the ARC was presented on March 2nd, and the residential leasing was presented on March 30th.
But we should have presented them
So,
after
so are
the
we,
attorney review.
so are we going to present this tonight?
I mean, we would just we were basically reaffirming what we had already done, Brian. That's all that's what's here for.
I mean, I can bring it up on the screen again. Give me a second. But these have to be signed. So
Yeah, we gotta sign them. We gotta sign them.
So I'm bringing it up. Hold on. Is this the right one? Yeah, we have to sign. We physically have to sign them. It can't be a digital signature. It has to be a wet signature. We have to sign. We have to send it out to all the homeowners to give them notice. And what else? Oh, we have to send the originals to the attorney, and she files it someplace, homeowners, something.
So let me make sure I follow this process. So we're going to take this. Do we sign it first and then send it out to the homeowners, or do we send it out to the homeowners?
No, we
prior
gotta
to
sign.
signing?
We have to sign it. We have to sign them first and send them to the attorney and to the homeowners concurrently. So we can put them up on the portal and send them out as an attachment, and that would suffice.
I actually have a question about that, Thomas.
Or we can mail them. We can mail them. We can do both. You know, I would if
Okay.
it was me, if it was me, I would do both. I would put, this is what I would do. I said we really don't even have to, we really don't have to vote on them. We're just presenting them and saying, okay, I'm affirming that this is what we approved on March. Wait, let me do it this way. Let me make my motion this way. A motion is that the architectural review and maintenance standards were approved on March 2nd, 2022. The residential leasing policy was approved on March 30th, 2022. Tonight's action essentially shows the community that these are the same documents that we presented. They're just in appropriate legal form. And my recommendation is that we reaffirm what we have already done, because they're not, and they have been reviewed by legal counsel, and they have been drafted by legal counsel, and they are not in conflict with the CCR or the declaration and covenants or the bylaws, any of the governing documents of this association. I make a motion that we reaffirm what we've done, the previous action that we've taken, and that we duly execute.
So I have it up on the screen now.
So I will second that for the maintenance standards.
Okay.
Not the dwelling lease.
All right, so the maintenance standards. All right, so let me do this in block. Let me separate this out then. Let's go back and redo this.
Correct.
All right, So the maintenance standards were done on March 2nd, 2022. They have been reviewed by the attorney, and they are not in conflict with the rules and regulations of this association, the governing documents of the association. Make a motion that we reaffirm what we've already approved, and this document is the same as what we approved on March 2nd, 2022.
I have another question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
How does this document affect the homeowners, including myself, that have been cited prior to this document being signed by director?
I mean, the guidelines were the guidelines. The guidelines, there's nothing that people were cited for that are, if you put up a shed and we didn't have a record for your shed, then, you got cited. Or, there were some maintenance things, the governor, the covenants require that people keep their homes in good good in good care, good repair. And so, everybody has their own definition of good repair. All this does is provide additional clarity in terms of what good repair or good maintenance means. That's all. There's nothing net new in that document, Brian, is what I'm telling you. They didn't add any, paint colors, or can't use neon green or whatever. They didn't do none of that stuff.
So
Thank you, Thomas.
okay,
I'm
I'll
sorry.
wait. No, I'll wait. That'll take us off into something else. I'll wait. So are we okay with this?
I'm okay. Brian, you okay? Shauna, you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay.
But we all have to sign.
We all got to
I
sign. Brian, you all right?
I don't know if he had a chance to really look at this, so that's why I'm asking.
So yeah, so I am okay as it's written.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that one passes. Let's deal with the other one.
We're gonna talk about that one tomorrow, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that one tomorrow. We'll talk about that one tomorrow, and then we'll bring that one back in June.
Okay.
Okay. So so to be clear for the minutes, the maintenance standards resolution that was drafted by the attorney has passed. Thomas made the motion, Brian seconded. We will be we're gonna have to get together to sign it and take all the steps that their attorney has told us that we need to take.
Yep.
Moving on to the next item, which is the last item. And this is what I was saying I was going to wait on. I wanted to finish that first before we move.
Praise the Lord. Y'all killing me tonight.
Before we moved into that, that we have on the agenda is the citation letters. So I received a phone call from Brenda. Century is getting mollywopped with calls from homeowners complaining about the violation letters that they have received. She is asking that the board intervenes in this matter. Homeowners are very upset about the violation letters. From what she was telling me, most of it was around the maintenance part of it, not necessarily the architectural, although there were some architectural complaints. And she is asking for us to intervene. I would like to make a motion, make a suggestion for consideration that we um, how do I want to say this? I would like to make a motion that we grandfather in anything prior to, we can even say today. There's been several people, I know you saw the email of a young lady that moved into a house, and there was already modifications to the house. She doesn't have any paperwork on it. And what Brenda essentially explained to me is that the prior board or whatever, I don't know what was going on. We weren't the board then, prior to December of 2021, mid-December 2021. There aren't accurate records, and the records that they do have are in a box, in boxes somewhere, in some storage facility that no one appears to be willing to go and look through. So these violation letters are causing a lot of just chaos.
On the ARC side, Lashana, is that what you're saying?
Vote.
Or
For
is it both?
both, I'm saying we because we need to do something.
Mhm.
Century is getting swamped, homeowners are upset, and we need to just kind of start with a clean slate. So my recommendation or my motion would be to grandfather everything in from this date, letting the homeowners know that from this date forward, they would need to provide documentation of when they had the work done. So for example, I have a deck, and let's say somebody says, hey, we don't have paperwork on your deck. Let's say Century lost it. The onus would be on me as the homeowner to provide either the approval from the association or the receipts to say, no, I had this deck built before what is today? May 25th,
What's it?
2022.
I got
And we just rescind these violation letters.
a question before I vote.
Okay.
I'm what if we rescind these violation letters, we're going to do more like we'll do an inspection again. And what my concern is that it'll come back up, right? maybe the softer approach is, and I'm just kind of throwing this out, Lashana, right? That we advise homeowners that we identify the issue that we don't have records for. I'm with you, but I think we still have to, in some way, shape, or form, for our records, for the association's records, still capture what these folks have constructed. For anything can happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
agree.
agreeing with
I said it
grandfathering
wrong.
them in. I'm agreeing with.
Yeah,
I'm
I said it
agreeing with.
wrong.
No, I know
said
what
it
you
wrong.
meant. I know what you meant. I know exactly what you
I
meant.
agree with you.
No,
Yes. So
we gotta.
when I said rescind the violation, I just mean, okay, so instead of it being a violation, we could say, hey, that violation that you received, that was just a notification. And then we keep the records. We have Century keep the records of what was noticed as our baseline of what each home has.
I know what you're getting at. So here's what I think we need to do. And I'm with you, Lashana. We're on the same page tonight. This is great.
That doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't happen very often. No, we don't agree on much, nothing. No, no, I shouldn't say that. Here's what I think we need to do. I think, and I'm agreeing, but I think what we need to do is have the people put the, because I don't think we did. Let me ask you this: does the letter specify? Did they capture what the violation was, like a deck or this, that, and the other, that type of thing?
Yes.
They
did.
and then they
and they give you 30 days to fix
and
it.
then we gave them 30 days to fix it.
Here, right.
Yeah.
So can Century take that information? So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, I think we still need to formally approve it, right? So how can we, the question is, how can we formally approve these things that we have to, in that we formally approve this architectural change? I think a way to do it is prepare a notice that says we identified this issue, whatever it is, particularly in this arc space, that we don't have records for, right? Submit the request and the board will approve it. And that will be your grandfather, and give them until end of June to get it done. Anything after that they will get a violation. Does that make sense? So we've identified, you see what I'm going with this, right? We identified these things in May, the first week of May. What we're saying is submit the architectural approval change. We're going to approve it, but you got until the end of June to get it done.
To get it done, you're talking about to
get your architectural request in. And what we're saying is we're going to give you an automatic approval. So if Brian, you built a deck, you didn't have, oh yeah, you like decks. If you built a deck and you got a violation, it says, Brian, you got a deck on your house. What we're saying is we've noticed you. You're going to have until June 30 to submit your architectural approval request.
okay.
We will automatically approve those. Anything after that, you'll get a violation notice.
So then how do we identify when they put in their ARC request, how do we identify that this is actually a
new
violation notice?
Just put in, so what we'll say is in the project description, I think it's a field. You got the form. Shauna, can you go on the portal and show the form really quick?
What form?
The ARC form. I'm thinking about the ARC form.
Oh, actually submitting an ARC request?
Have them submit the request.
Okay, hold on.
So let's just actually go in it for a second. Let's look at it.
Let me see. So while I'm logging in, because I don't want to show everybody my login.
But you understand y'all understand what I'm getting at. Is I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying we still need to make sure we've got the right documentation in place to where we formally took action to say that these things were okay. We're going to automatically, we're not going to require you to have your plat. We're not going to require you to have your stuff. If you've got a violation on whatever the date was, then we'll grandfather you in, but you got to submit the approval. You got to submit the form. It's all we're asking you to do.
I understand what you're saying. My pause to that is that we have received several communications from homeowners.
I saw them. I saw the work orders. It's like 4 or 5 of them.
Well, no, communications saying that they didn't think that it was fair for them to have to submit the paperwork in the portal, either because they purchased a home, they're like the second or third owner, the modifications were done and they don't have the paperwork.
I'm not asking for the paperwork though, Lashana. I'm not even asking you for, I'm not asking, what I'm saying is I'm not asking them for the paperwork. I'm asking them to submit the form to say that this was done by a previous owner and I received a violation and we're going to grandfather them in. That's all I'm saying. That way, Brian, LaShawn, I was about to say Erica, I'm sorry. Brian, LaShawn, and Thomas have affirmatively approved these things. They're still being grandfathered in. Unless Century has some other way to do it.
I think that's going to be a problem. I think that homeowners, just from what I've been reading, I think
I agree. I've seen it.
That they don't feel that it's their responsibility to have to enter anything into the portal. But I'm gonna share my screen now and show the ARC application. So it's up.
So what I'm thinking that they would do, they would go and they put their name in, they put and then they would go to the project description. What is it? They would check off whatever it is. They could do one form. They can check off 3. If you got a solar dish, a deck, and a patio, I'm just gonna pick, or flowers, you can check that off. You can put, whatever start date you want. I would put, when they did the inspection or whatever it is. And
Oh, it's not gonna let me go to the next screen until I
yeah,
fill
you
out the
can't. Yeah, you
required
can't.
form.
Don't. That's okay. But
Okay.
in the project field, project description field, you were just going to put in received. We will give them the language. Put received violation notice about this, and this was done by a previous homeowner. Submit the form. Be done with it. I'm not asking a homeowner to give. I'm not asking a homeowner to give me documentation that they don't have. I'm saying, unless Century has another way to document unless Century has another way to document that these things are okay, I'm trying to protect us. That's all I'm saying.
I like the idea that LaShawna had, the president had, about just rescinding from a specific date prior, and kind of
How do you know? I guess what I'm getting at, Brian, is how do you know? Like Joe Blow could have put up a.
Well,
How do you?
so
I mean,
I don't,
we
maybe
have
I
the
didn't explain
documentation.
it.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
What?
maybe I didn't explain it correctly. So let me go back.
Okay.
So what I was saying was because Century has compiled all this information, right, to issue the violation letters. So we have that data. So what I'm saying is use that data to annotate whatever the violation was, because we're whether we go your route and we're asking them to submit something in the portal,
Either
or we
way.
go my route, we're still using that same data from the violation letters that Century compiled.
Agreed.
So what I'm saying is we just use that data as the baseline. Don't ask them to submit anything in the portal, but use that and have Century properly record that, maintain those records, and then that way we would have a record as of May 25th, 2022, when we did the inspection. These are the items that were noted at all of the homes that were inspected. And then from this point moving forward, we would let the homeowners know, look, everything from May 25th, 2022 back has been grandfathered in. The things that were noted and you received a violation for, the violation has been rescinded. That is just an annotation that will go in your home file for our records. No action is required, and then we can use that information. And then anything from not May 26th.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
But
I know exactly what you mean.
anything from whatever date moving forward, we would let the homeowners know, look, if there's something that comes up in an upcoming inspection, the onus will be on you to provide either the approval from the management company or a receipt showing that you had whatever done, you had your deck built prior to May 25th, 2022.
Gotcha. All right. I'm with you. I'm on board. So here's the motion. Y'all ready? All right. Motion is that we grandfather that. Let me do it this way. Century, as a part of the maintenance blitz, conducted a homeowner inspection the week of May. I don't know what the week is. May 4th through the 8th. Violation notices were issued between May 16th and May 18th, 2022. The motion is items identified on the violations letters as a part of the May 2022 inspection, architectural items that were identified on the inspection as of from May 22 will be grandfathered, and Century will have Century to denote that these items are approved as of let's do it as of today. As of what is today?
May 25th.
As of Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. So
So,
I'll restate it. Century
So-
conduct, oh, you want me to restate it or you got a question?
well, I have a question because you specified architectural
I was gonna
and
coming
not
back.
the
I
maintenance.
was coming back to that one. I was dealing with
Okay,
ARC first because that's what you just that's what requires an affirmative approval from the board. So Century conducted a management conducted at board's direction conducted a spring inspection. Architectural items identified. Architectural items identified on those violations letters will be denoted in the homeowner's record as approved by the Brentwood Homeowners Association Board of Directors as of Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, and the architectural violations will be closed. Any issue identified subsequent or post, any issue identified post May 25th, 2022 will have to have an architectural approval. Do I have a second?
I second. I think I understand what you're saying. So you're basically saying we're going to use the
We're going to
information,
use Century's data. We're going to use Century's data.
grandfather
And then we
everything
grandfather
in.
everybody in, and they're going to denote that, and they will denote the approval as of today.
Okay, so the motion is to have Century note their approval on all of the architectural violations that have been issued. Note on the account that they are approved as of today. And we would be rescinding the violations.
The architectural violations, yes.
Okay, I second.
I third.
Okay, so now we need to move on to the maintenance. Do the same thing with the maintenance.
Those are the ones that I've got concerns about. Now, I'll tell you how I feel about it. I think some of them, people, I mean, we all own these lovely, beautiful properties, and we all need to make sure that we take care of them. I'm not sure I want to do the exact same thing for maintenance issues. I'm just not sure. I'm not saying no. I'm just not sure. I think we do have to have a standard within this community where we all have to maintain our properties and ensure that our properties are kept in good repair. Good, bad, or indifferent. So I'm not sure if I want to do that.
So,
I don't know.
I understand that there are some items, but there were other items that were previously voted on as maintenance issues that I totally disagree with. So in order to start with a clean slate and try to just move forward and take action, I make a motion that we do the same thing with the maintenance standards. And we have Century annotate as of today, that all things are grandfathered in. And then we meet at a later date and discuss what maintenance standards we would like to uphold, and then take a subsequent vote on those specific items.
When in the guidelines, everything that's on that sheet is in the guidelines. I think there's only like one or two that's kind of like not there. Mashana, to be totally honest with you.
And what are those one or two items that are not?
I think it was something like with the siding, and I mean everybody's got to keep their driveway in good repair. You got to cut your weeds. I mean you got to have your grass cut. I think somebody had something with I didn't remember all of them. Somebody didn't have their grass cut. Somebody had some trash. Somebody had an inoperable vehicle. Somebody had a cracked driveway. Somebody that their house was, not looking that great and or had chip paint. There was just a number of things. So I'm willing to, here's what I'm willing to do, LaShawn. I think this kind of put people on notice in terms of what our expectations were or are around this. I'm willing to do two things. One, put something in the Brentwood Weekly to remind people that this is what our expectation, you know what I mean? This is what our expectations are around, maintaining, a good maintained property. So comms might have to, spend it, keep your grass cut, keep your house power washed, whatever. Make sure you don't have chip paint, that type of stuff. Just do like a FAQ. And to close the violations, with the caveat that if we come back again, if and when we come back again, that these issues should not exist. So basically what we're saying is, okay, this was your trial. This was your test. You see what the expectations are. You know what the baseline is. We've got the maintenance guidelines. You got to keep your grass cut. You can't have trash in your yard. You can't have chip paint, that type of stuff. You can't have a kicked in garage door, none of that stuff. But if we come back around again, then you're really gonna have to deal with the issue.
Okay.
This was a test.
Well, I mean, yeah. So
this was a test. I mean, that's fair. I think that's fair.
So that's actually what this guideline pretty much says. And so
right.
prior to having this guideline on the books, I agree with Lashana, the president, to where we just need to go ahead and just round it out and just go ahead and do what we did previously for the maintenance issues.
But I'm agreeing with that, but I'm also saying that we need to do an FAQ or something. So just to remind, you see what I'm saying, Brian?
Right.
We're gonna come back around. This has never been done before. We want to keep the community looking beautiful. We have to maintain our property. And so what I want noted in there is that we're closing these, but the contingency is that if we close these, when we come back around, if and when we come back around again, these issues should not exist. I'm going to go along with it if we kind of handle it that way.
How often are we doing these inspections?
I mean, we my thought was we would do them. I mean, we can do them biannually, we can do them annually. I think it's going to be contingent upon how we are feeling as a board, how the community is, what the appearance of the community is.
It's also going to be contingent upon the budget.
And contingent upon that too.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Contingent upon the budget. There's a large expense with conducting these inspections, so it's going to be budget driven as well to determine on there's no set requirement as to how frequent these inspections need to occur.
But you know what, Lashana, when Brenda comes out doing her month about doing her monthly and quarterly doing her monthly inspections, these are the types of things she should be looking for.
Well, and
as a part of that, right? So you don't always have to do a heavy lift like what we did here. I mean, we did this here to kind of establish a baseline, to kind of figure out, what's really going on, right?
So I I'm merging both what you and Brian has said, but I still, I do not, I think that, okay, so here's my motion. Okay.
I had a motion on the floor, but I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead.
Okay, because I'm merging what y'all saying and I'm adding a little bit of mine.
Oh,
So
Lord.
I don't agree with the standard that has been set. You already know that. I vehemently disagree with the bubbling siding and some of the other things that were voted on to be cited as maintenance issues.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I'm sorry. Is that, I'm sorry. I'm coming late to the party. That was actually decided back in what, March 2nd, as far as those maintenance items and what will be cited? Is that what I'm hearing?
that wasn't actually in the document that we're discussing. That was decided once the inspections were done. So Century Management conducted the inspections. They came back with a spreadsheet of all of the items that they viewed while they were out. And there were several items such as bubbling siding, basketball hoops. I can't remember all of them. I have
You
to bring
can't
them
have
up.
you can't have a basketball hoop in the right of way. You know that, LaShawn. You can't have that. That's an architectural thing. You can't have a basketball hoop in the
I
right.
was given that as an example, Thomas. I wasn't trying to say anything.
You
I'm
can't have,
just,
don't put that out. You can have basketball.
he hasn't seen the report.
Oh,
He hasn't
oh.
seen the inspection report. So I'm using that as an example. I'm not saying anything.
I'm
So
gonna
there
come play.
were,
I'm gonna come play basketball in your driveway tonight.
so,
Me and Mike,
so
we're
there
gonna go
were,
out there and play.
okay, I'll focus on the bubbling siding for Thomas' sake. Okay. The bubbling siding. We had an option, the board then had an option whether or not to cite that as a violation or to make notice of it. There was a majority vote to make it a violation. I disagree with that one specifically because we were informed by Century Management that that is caused by the sun reflecting off of a neighbor's window and causing that issue. And so even if the homeowner uh, replaces the siding, which is very expensive, it's going to keep occurring again. So there were certain items that Century pointed out that there was a vote taken on whether or not it would be a notification to the homeowner or a violation. So that's why I'm saying we need to go back and review what we are talking about, what is going to be a violation and what these maintenance standards are. They need to be redefined. So I don't disagree with either one of you. I just want to make sure that that piece is in there, that we are going to go back and define what maintenance issues we're talking about.
But they're in the guidelines. I think
I
they're in
second
the
that.
they're in the guidelines, LaShawn.
Well, the
No,
bubbling siding wasn't
Okay,
in
bubbling
there.
siding it may not be that specific, right? It might not be that specific, but I mean, it kind of does speak to good repair. Your driveway, I mean, I'm going to use my driveway should not have. I'm going to use me. My driveway should not have a big crack in the middle of it. That's not cool.
So
I
I
should
just
cut
think
my
we
grass.
need to be specific in what we're saying maintenance so everyone knows, so that we understand, so that the homeowners understand. I think we
That's
need
fair.
to go back and
Correct.
be very specific because the document that we're talking about and how this all got started, this doesn't mention anything about bubbling siding. However, when Century conducted the inspections, they brought it back and a vote was taken to make it a violation. So I think we need to just go back. I'm not disagreeing. I just think we need to. So again, my recommendation, my motion, however you want to say it, is that we uh rescind all of the maintenance violations from May 25th back.
Mhm.
We use the Century data to establish a baseline of what was noted at each house. And then we discuss as a board what maintenance standards we are going to hold the homeowners to and specify them and spell it out.
I second that motion.
Okay. Hearing no objections, the motion is passed. I didn't hear any objections.
And so we're gonna, we can, are we rescinding these? Do we have to rescind? Can we make them warnings?
Uh,
I would rather make them warnings to instead of this is a warning that this is something that you need to, maybe warning may not be the best word, but it's a warning.
Motion has already been seconded and it's already been passed.
But wait a minute, Brian, hold on. Are we just like wiping all these out and rescinding them and saying these are going away, or are we saying that we are, what are we saying? I'm not saying I disagree. I got distracted. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just trying to understand what we're saying, LaShawna. That's all.
Okay.
Can you
So
restate it for me again?
the motion that I made was that we rescind the maintenance violations that were sent out. We use those violation letters and the data that Century collected as a baseline to annotate what was noted at each home. So for example, my house, I got cited, I got a violation for bubbling siding. It will be in Century's file that my house has bubbling siding due to the sun reflecting off my neighbor's window onto my siding.
Mhm.
We rescind all those. They're no longer violations, but it will be a note in the homeowner's file.
That
And
says what?
then
Wait. A note in the homeowner's file that says what?
saying that this home is located in an area
Mhm.
where the sun reflects off of the neighbor's window and causes the siding to bubble. It's been annotated and it would be kept in the file.
Got it. Okay, keep going.
And then we would meet as a board and discuss what specific maintenance items we are going to cite as violations in the future. We would have that discussion, we would spell them out, and then we would notify the homeowners. That is the motion that I made that Brian seconded.
Okay,
Correct.
I'm on board. I was just trying to follow what she was saying, Brian. That's all. I'm like, what are we doing?
So it will give you what you want. It
It
will
still gives me
be
what I want. Yeah, it still gives me
it
what I
will
want.
be noted in the homeowner's file that that is something that was noticed during the Century Management inspections.
But can I
But
make, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, but no action would be required on the part of the homeowner because the violation would be rescinded. It would just be a note in the file.
A note.
And then we would discuss what specific maintenance items that we are going to issue violations for in the future.
I think that's fair. I think that's
Okay.
fair. I think that establishes, I think it's that, not that I disagree with what I did, what we did before. I think we didn't, I mean, look, we wanted to establish a baseline and we need people to kind of know where we stand. So I'm okay doing it that way. But what I would like to do is put a time certain around when we revisit this. So I would like to make a motion that we revisit, and I'm gonna give us some time, right, LaShawna, because
Okay.
we've got other things that we need to kind of do. So I would like for us to pick this back up, look at this data, and I'm gonna put Q4. So once we complete the budget before we end the year, we're gonna pick this data up, and we're gonna look at it and look at the data and re-baseline and determine what needs to be there.
So that's October, November,
Back November,
December
December.
timeframe.
Yeah,
Okay.
you agree to that?
Yes, I agree to revisit this. I
Just put-
second your motion.
Just
I
put
second your
Q4.
motion. Yeah,
Just put
I
Q4
second
and
your
we'll figure it out.
motion. Sometime in Q4,
Yeah,
we will make sure that we revisit this to establish the what maintenance items we are going to issue violations for in the future.
because again, it wasn't done before. So There we go.
Okay.
Everybody happy.
Whew.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. Well,
I just got the budget thing, so
That's a lot.
there's a lot. I'll be quick.
we had something else. I thought that was it.
Yeah, it's the budget. It's the budget.
A listening session.
The listening session.
Oh, okay.
So
Go ahead.
the board's gonna have a listening session, guys, on 16 June. And the goal of it is to hear from homeowners around the budget, the things that you want to see, the things that you want to see us do. We're looking at some other engagement opportunities, as a part of it. But the first step is the listening session. Board more than likely will not take questions. We're just going to listen. Folks will have 2 minutes to address the board, and we'll move on. But we want to make sure that we are listening and that we're being responsive and that we're letting you engage with us. So more than likely we won't take questions, but we'll put the rules of the road in the meeting invite, and we'll put the codify everything else that's in the Brentwood Weekly. So that's on June 16th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Okay. So, was that the last item on
That's
the
the last
agenda?
item, y'all.
That's the last
Ooh.
item.
Okay, so Brian, I'm not sure if you remember this, but per the attorney, you're new to the board. We need to open up the floor for community input, at least for a few minutes at the end of each board meeting. This was a very long meeting, but we still need to open it up. So in Zoom, I believe you can still raise your hands if you would like to address the board, and I am going to put a time limit on this because we're already at 9:21. So at 9:45, we are going to end the community input portion of this meeting. So if you would like to address the board, I ask that you would raise your electronic hand now. When your name is called, then you can address the board. If you're not speaking, I ask that you would please keep your line muted so that we can be respectful and hear everyone. And at 9:45, we are going to cut the community input portion. So I see Rachel Lee.
I just want to say great job, you guys. I'm glad we have the management and finance committee. I know you guys tackled a lot tonight, but you pretty much tackled everything that I wanted you to tackle. So I'm very proud of you. Keep up the great work. Elbows. I'm sorry, it's like a high five, but virtual, because COVID. So it's an elbow bump. Yep, just like that, Brian. All right, good job, guys.
Oh, that was easy. Thank you.
That
Camilla, it's Camilla's phone. I was getting ready to read all that.
Yeah. How are you? How are you, Lashana?
I'm doing well, ma'am.
Good. Great meeting. Very engaging. So I did receive a bubble letter. However, I did speak to Liz at Century, and they sent me a second letter indicating it was just a notification to let me know that this is what happened based on what you just stated. It's the sun from your neighbor's window, which is weird. And they're really minute bubbling on the side of my house. And they said that I wasn't required to get it repaired in the letter as well. So I just wanted to state that part because I was really concerned as a new homeowner in this particular development. Also, the other thing that I had a question about is security, and are we going to be able to have a surveillance in that park, because there's a lot of misbehavings that goes on back there in this development, i.e., for example, I see a lot of condoms on the ground. marijuana. And I work from home, so I do walk a lot. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is interesting. But I did call and they said that surveillance would be like a liability, but I was just wondering if that's something that you all would entertain as far as having a surveillance back there. Because kids set paper on fire. Yeah.
Okay, so,
And then they
uh,
tore the fence apart, the fence where the ducks are around the pond or the reservoir area. The fence has been torn back. So I'm like, this is crazy. What is happening? Am I living on a farm or somewhere? I'm not understanding, but it's just crazy.
okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
your question. I'm not gonna throw Brian into the fire because he just got safety and security unless he wants to weigh in. But Thomas and I have been, as you know, on the board. This is an issue that's been coming up. I know landscaping has been working with keeping that area clean. They have community cleanup days. There's another one coming up. They go through that area frequently to try to clean up the condoms and the other things that we've seen up there. The Safety and Security Committee did make recommendations to the board about security measures to take. Surveillance was one of those. So the board needs to decide a path forward. However, I just want to say, as far as the surveillance, that's going to be a budget issue. So it's going to be influenced by the budget as well. It is something that's on our radar. We have been discussing it. We will continue to discuss it. We are aware. But we need to balance the needs of the community along with the budget. So if Brian or
CCSO.
Thomas want to add something to that.
CCS, there's some additional engagement from CCSO as well, Charles County Sheriff's Office as
Yeah.
well. So we're watching, and I think we just got a note from someone at CCSO to put us on Crime Watch or something like that. So it's on us to kind of fill. And I think the surveillance does, to LaShawna's point, it does have a budget issue. The budget is what it is. So come to the budget conversation.
Yeah, I did contact the Charles County and they indicated that I can fill out a form.
Yep.
I filled out the form where they can come and patrol the area.
Yep.
But the sheriff or the deputy, whomever is in charge of that department, only gave 90 days. So it expires in July.
We'll get it
So
renewed. We'll get it
yeah.
renewed. We'll get it renewed.
But it'll just be ideal, because there are a lot of kids. I feel safer when I see them driving through the neighborhood because we do get a lot of drive-bys. So there are people that really don't live in the neighborhood. So I just think it's just wise to do that.
Correct. I actually agree with you. I will be meeting with the Safety and Security Committee very soon, probably either sometime early next week, no later than the second week of June. There are some initiatives that they have discussed with me. We're going to work those initiatives out, such as signage, making sure that the pavilion parking area is considered a private place. And so, maybe signage for no trespassing, or closing the park from dusk to dawn. So there are a number of initiatives that the Safety and Security is working on, but I'll definitely be getting that to the board so we can act upon those initiatives and try to cure this issue.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. We're moving to the next hand is Martha.
Good afternoon or good evening. This is Martha, the Martha Henderson that did volunteer for the ARC board. First of all, I want to say to the board, since I've been here and since you guys took over, I have seen a great improvement with a lot of things. So I do thank you guys for volunteering, and like I said, I've seen great work, just being on the ARC side. Couple things, I'm gonna go with the easy one first. One of them, I did put an application in for the ARC. Since no one's able to get into the email that we're supposed to send to, do I need to send this again somewhere else, or
No.
what is taking place now with the applications?
I think with the applications, there's a list of 4 or 5. And so we need to work through Century in terms of how that's going to work out. But I will get that sorted tomorrow, and we will advise what needs to happen. But there was a list of 4 or 5 that we did approve. Um, uh, I think yours may have been one of them.
Okay,
I remember.
thank you. Also, there was a application I put in earlier for some lights. I was told that it was approved, but I never received any paperwork back that it was approved.
Your lights, landscaping lights. What type of lights?
Yeah, it was lights, the illumination lights that went over the house, the peak of the house, so it illuminates at night.
The Century told you it was approved.
Actually, I received an email from Demetrius saying that it was approved, that was going forward, and I never received anything from that.
Can you send the board a note and just put your address in there? And when we look at the outstanding ARC ones, I'll see if it was done.
I sure can.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last one, Ms. Spencer, it goes to you. I'm not sure what took place. You said I was unqualified for the ARC chair. I was basically second when Demetrius was going to be on leave at one particular time, and he put me in charge. I had been on the chair since, I want to say February, March. I've been on previous boards of Virginia, at least up to 8 or 9 years on the community board. No one probably know me that could be part of it. But I don't understand why I was not, or could not be considered. I'm not understanding what your feelings were about that for me. Can you please explain, please?
Sure. To clarify, I didn't say that you were not qualified. I said that I wanted to open it up to the community. From what Mr. McKeithen said, you had not been on the board that long. I did not know your background, but you are still being considered for the chair. To clarify that, you will be considered, but it's being opened up to the community, as with the other chair positions that we're opening up. And the reason why we're doing that is to see what talent pool that we have out in the community. And we may have someone that's an architect or someone that is an accountant. So you are still being considered. And we just want to open it up to the community.
Okay, I just heard you say something about being IT related or something. I didn't have some skills or
No.
something. Okay, I apologize if that's not what you meant. Thank you. That was all.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Deidre Toole.
Hi, good evening. Just referencing the last provision that you guys were talking about in regards to the maintenance, in order to get community homeowners input, is that something that could also be discussed when you guys are reviewing what is a violation versus a notification with the landscaping committee for input?
Yeah, I think the maintenance issues will be, we're gonna look at the data. And again, it had never been done before. Nobody knew what was what around maintenance, right? And so we're gonna look at the data. Once let us get through the budget, let it settle. We'll look at the data and then figure out what we want to classify as a maintenance issue. We've got some guidelines out there, but we want to put some more guidance around it. So it's kind of like we're flying the plane as we're building it. See it that way. Because we walked into absolutely no guidelines or limited guidelines, and not a lot of processes. So we're building the plane as we're flying it, and we're gonna make some mistakes. And I don't think
And
that.
the reason I was asking that question was to make sure that it's not just board directors making the final decision, that we actually have homeowners actually giving input as well.
I agree with you.
Definitely agree with you.
Yes, we will make sure that that occurs. We will make sure that we engage the community when we have that conversation. Thank you, ma'am. Latoya Garner.
First and foremost, thank you for addressing the architectural and maintenance and grandfathering that. I thought that was a very good and wise decision on behalf of the homeowners. Earlier in the call, I also noticed that to me, it was just some inconsistency as to how the board went about making certain decisions. And I just want to ask you all to consider putting it in your process to determine how you go about selecting certain offices such as chairs. Because it seems as if some chairs were just, motioned in, and then the other chairs, they were, let's put it out to the community. I think it should be consistent. If you're gonna do that, perhaps do that for all boards and committees and not be selective. But that's just my observation and my recommendation.
I would agree with you. I'll just tell you how I feel about it. I agree 100% with you. And I'll tell you why I withdrew it. I wasn't going to get embarrassed, and I wasn't going to go down that path. So I took the higher road. Let's open it up and let's see where it lands. But I agree 100% with you. We need to be consistent, and our processes need to be consistent.
So thank you. Part of the reason, I think there was only the one chair, the landscaping chair, that we appointed, and the other ones we are sending out. I know my reasoning behind that was because there are so many moving parts with landscaping. They're out here weekly and doing work. And they also work with the other committees, community events, getting ready for events, etc. I felt the reason why I voted the way that I did was because I felt that we needed someone in there immediately. And we didn't need any lag time in that position with all the activities that are going on. So that was the one appointment that we did make tonight. However, all the other ones will be opened up to the community. But I do see your point and that we need to be consistent across the board. I just think in this instance, the reason why I voted the way that I did is because there's so much activity going on with the landscaping. We needed to get someone in that position immediately.
And I concur with LaShawna's answer.
Okay, but we will work on that to make sure that things are consistent across the board in the future. So thank you for your comment. We have Rachel Lee.
Sorry about that. Just had a question. Will the management committee that's doing the governing documents and bylaws, will they be the ones looking at our election process? I know we didn't want to leave here without deciding who's going to tackle, making sure we don't have that quorum concern again. Like, or is that a separate? I know there was an election committee.
There's a nominating. It's required to have a nominating committee, but the management committee would, in my view, would lean in and actually the governing documents are 20 years old, Rachel, right?
Right. So they're gonna have a lot to tackle with that.
They're gonna have it's gonna be a huge lift of time. So
I have faith that there's going to be enough people to tackle everything that needs to be tackled, because I'm just really confident that we're just all going to go after this
Go,
and
Rachel.
really break this apart and have a lot of great suggestions and get things approved as quickly as possible for the betterment of our environment. So my question directly was about that election process that we all had to go through and sit through. That was like an hour and a half long. And I just
Oh,
wanna
you're
know-
talking about the roll call.
Roll call, yes. that
Okay, I
probably
thought
should
you
have
were
been
talking
a-
about the election. Okay.
Oh, no,
So
I
the
just meant that roll call process, because we're gonna have to come against that
I
again.
promise, no, we are not going through that again. I did talk to the CAM. I was actually messaging her during that meeting, and we will never do that again. I promise you. We are going to figure out a better way to do that. I agree, that was exhausting. We spent essentially the first 50 minutes of the annual meeting doing roll call. That's not gonna happen again. We're gonna figure out a better way to do that. I promise you. Everyone
Okay.
agrees. Everybody is on board. Everyone agrees that that should never happen again.
Correct.
Absolutely not.
So the board will make sure that that doesn't happen again. It won't be the
Yes, ma'am.
management committees. Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. We have Deidre Toole, and just to remind you, the time is now 9:40. At 9:45, I'm going to cut off community engagement, and I'm going to go to Deidre Toole at this time.
I was just wondering and asking the question. I know that people are interested in adding more board members, more board directors, or at least 2 more spaces. Is that same managing committee going to be voting on that or helping to get that initiated?
The management committee will be responsible for researching that. So in the bylaws right now, it states that the association will be run by 3 directors. So that's actually in the bylaws. To change that, we would have to do a bylaw change. We would have to go through the attorney. There's money associated with that. And it takes 60% of the homeowners to vote in favor of it.
66,
So
two-thirds, two-thirds,
I'm sorry.
two-thirds, 365.
Okay,
365.
so that's a process. But it would be the management committee that would be looking at the bylaws, doing a deep dive into them, reviewing them, seeing what we want to change, possibly sending out surveys to homeowners to find out, what changes we would like to see as homeowners in the bylaws. But we would have to research that. The management committee would research all of those, compile the data. We would bring it to the homeowners, and we would have to send it to the attorney and get it formally written up. And then we would have to take a vote, and we would have to have enough homeowners to participate and vote to actually get that passed. But that would be, the management committee would not be voting on it, but they would be doing the legwork so that we could present it to the homeowners.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I do not see any more hands. So at this time, it is 9:42 p.m. I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Sounds good.
Hello,
That-
I can't get the thing to work.
Ma'am, I can hear you.
Oh, you can now. I'm sorry. Anyway, I just have one thing that I wanted to say. I don't know how to raise the hand up on this Zoom call. I don't know how to do that.
That's
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
But one thing that I was one of the homeowners that got a letter regarding my side in the deck and the satellite dish. And I do appreciate you grandfathering that information in, because when we got the letter, we were just heartbroken because we have been here since 2009 and we had everything approved. And I was talking to one of the other guys that's on this committee, as some of the elderly that's in your community, we do try to do the right thing. And I was just hurt, and my husband was hurt that we got a letter. And we've been here, since we had the house built in 2009, and we did everything. Now, all of a sudden, we're getting this information. So I do appreciate you and the board dropping all of those letters, resending them, and starting anew. And I think that was the best decision that I could have heard tonight, that what you are doing. So I do want to thank the board for the consideration of the people of the community. Thank you.
Yep.
Yes,
Ma'am, yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I've been here since 2009 as well. And I don't know if you heard, I received a violation letter as well for the bubbling siding.
And I talked-
So, and your concern about that, and I'm glad that we were able to come to a resolution this evening.
And I enjoyed our conversation yesterday, ma'am. I really did.
Okay.
I remember you. You called me. You found my number and you called me. And I appreciate you
Yes,
calling
I
me.
did.
You're a very nice lady. Give my regards to your husband.
Thank you, ma'am. And this is the last hand we're going to take. I see Rachel Lee. The time is now 9:44, and we're going to cut it off right after Miss Lee.
She buying us coffee, LaShawna. That's what Rachel.
I don't drink coffee, but no, I was gonna put it in the chat, LaShawna, Brian, Thomas, are we gonna consider hybrid meetings? When we think about our entire population, are we at least gonna offer that as an option in the future, especially for these open meetings?
My personal thoughts on it, we haven't talked about it as a board. It's come up. My personal feeling is that and of course, we'll talk about it as a board. This is just LaShawna talking, not the board. My personal feeling on that is until I'm not inclined to have hybrid or in-person meetings until we have more participation in the virtual meetings. It is easy to join a virtual meeting. You can join a virtual meeting from anywhere. At any time, at home, at work, you can dial in and listen. And participation has been low for various reasons. I've talked to people, some people have 3 and 4 jobs. Some people work different shifts, so I understand. But to physically try to get a facility, whether it's free or we have to pay a cost, or having people travel, it's going to be more difficult for people to actually attend a meeting in person than it is virtually. So I'm not inclined to do that anytime soon until we have more participation in the virtual meetings.
And Rachel, I'm with LaShawna, right? It's participation for me, but it's also the health and safety issues too. You know, there's the COVID case, the numbers are just going to, go up. I love in-person meetings. I love to engage with people. But I think it's just something we're just gonna have to watch and kind of go slow and steady. I would love to have in-person meetings, but I just don't think the time is right. I just don't, not right now. Case numbers are going up.
Rachel, I'm actually torn between in-person meetings and
Yeah.
virtual. I would love to do in-person meetings, but again, with the number, looks like the COVID number is rising. And then again, participation is the key. If we had a couple hundred people on the line, then I'd be like, yeah, let's meet at the park, or meet at the pavilion, bring your lawn chairs, and let's have a meeting there. But I'm sure the board, we will take this concern and kind of wrap our minds around it and come back with something soon.
Okay, thank you, everyone. The time is now 9:47. I make a motion to adjourn this meeting. I want to thank everyone for attending. Have a good evening.